It's time for the Ginger King to shine. This is Wes's episode. I am John, a little bit of Ginger, Chidley Hill.
And I am Sheldon Alexander. I
And
got a red sweater.
That's something. And this is You Killed It, the podcast talking about the challenge. Did we ever talk about redheads and our ability to metabolize anesthetic faster?
What did you just say?
Redheads, or people who have the redheaded gene, such as myself, like my beard's a little red, we metabolize local anesthetic 30% faster than regular people. Normal people, you might even say.
My question to you is, what is it that you expect me to do with that information?
What I'm a little disappointed, Sheldon, that at this point, you don't realize that all I try to do on this podcast, more than anything, is try to catch you wrong-footed. I just try to basically I try to fuck with you. And I like that you put it my social media, just like advertising.
Yeah.
If you want more of this chicanery, you don't have my threads up there too. You can also get me on threads at J Chidley Hill.
Yeah. Send him all of that. All of your comments, questions, and concerns, just send that to him. This is the You Killed It podcast, episode 253.
Oh my
where
God.
We're talking about the Challenge USA season 2, episode 6. Yes,
6.
kids, we're here. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe wherever you get the pod. Bless with the like, bless with the share. Send us your comments and questions because we see them, we appreciate them, and we love them.
So, we got a lot to talk about. First of all,
yeah,
Wes knows that he is in trouble because Cassidy is so mad at him.
Yeah.
And at the same time, Dusty is still heated for catching some strays.
Your man's Dusty is on one. He is not happy. But if we thought that Cassidy was misguided with her hate for Wes, your man's Dusty. He went overboard with his anger.
I mean, he went overboard, but also, he's right. Alyssa L., who's now gone, so his anger's not even directed at anyone. Did lie to him. She did lie, in fairness. But also, she's gone. The person who lied to you is gone. So learn how to process your anger in healthy ways, my dude.
But
that's what journaling's for, you know?
This was great editing though, because I loved how wrong he was. The 3 people that he guessed who voted for him, they show big X's, that was wrong, that was wrong, that was wrong. And he's losing it on Tiffany. And she's like, I voted for Sebastian. And he knows that because I told him that. And yet he's still no, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. It was so well done. And then how it cuts to Michelle. And she's like, oh, this is great. He's not even looking at us at all. That was actually really funny.
It was funny. Do you know what's not funny, though? The vibing.
Okay.
The connection between Tyler and Alyssa S.
Ooh.
Who, I love that they cut to it for 30 seconds where they're just having, a conversation. And they're just I'm really glad we're on the same team. And then, Tyler talking about what a bond they have.
Yeah.
This is the problem with the hour-long format on CBS. We need 30 minutes of cuddling. We need to see the connection receipts. You know what I mean?
Do you know what the CBS version is really missing that we don't get at all?
The club?
Well, yes. But also just a classic afternoon by the pool. There used to be full on segments that's just everyone hanging out by the pool.
Yeah.
It'd be funny. It'd be jokes. You get to show off the beautiful cast. Everybody wins.
Yep.
We don't get any of that. Not even just a quick little do-do-doom, do-do-doom, do-do-doom. Sorry, that was my montage music for some reason.
No, you nailed it. I absolutely knew that you were going for the in Wayne's World when they do that and they
yes.
At the ending. I'm not sure listeners are going to understand what I'm referring to, but
the do.
Yeah,
I know what you're saying. Yeah, Wayne's World.
But then we had a highlight of every season, Sheldon.
Mm-hmm.
We had trivia, baby.
So trivia is always a great time, and recapping trivia is always fun because I always find it funny to go over like which questions to us stood out the most. But I love the beginning of it, and I think that this is my line of the episode because Tori says that TJ loves it because he makes the challengers look like dum-dums. And that's my line of the episode, not because of what Tori said, but because I was like, are we sure that TJ's the one that makes you guys look like dum-dums?
Yeah. Like he doesn't yeah, he just exposes their ignorance. The ignorance is already existing.
He just asks the questions, right?
Yeah.
He's just doing his job asking the questions. That's all.
I'm going to tell you, Sheldon, there's a question in this trivia.
Okay.
That made me get in my feelings for a minute. Before we do that, though, we're skipping it. We should talk about the actual format. So it's actually team trivia. So each team is on, they call it glass. I feel like it was plexiglass. But they were on a see-through platform laying like parallel to the ground. And every question that they got wrong as a team, it would inch up a little bit until they were like basically all the way up. And of course, they're getting sweaty, they're in the sun, and then they fall off, slide off, and into the water below. Classic challenge. And once everyone on your team slides off, your team is eliminated. So it's still a team competition, and you have to come to a consensus on the answers.
Yes.
The real problem was people were just like spitting out the answers to TJ before there was a consensus. Correct. Which brings us back to the question that had me in my feelings. Can you guess what it was?
Well, I feel like we got to mention Johnny Bananas claiming that it's ass to glass because you need the friction to stop you from falling off the glass. I'm only mentioning this
to have an ass, and like I don't have a big butt, Sheldon. I don't think this would play to my strengths. The ass to glass theory.
Fair enough. So I guess you better just get your questions right. So yes, what is your question?
I got in my feelings when they were asked what was the capital of Canada. And so I don't know who it was. I think someone threw out Ottawa just off the hop.
Off the hop, right away.
Dear listener, that is the correct answer. It is Ottawa.
Yeah.
And then they just spiraled further and further away. We heard Quebec.
Yep.
And like, I don't know if that meant Quebec City or Quebec the province. They threw out, someone said Ontario, and then compounded it by someone else saying like, no, that's a state. Guys, we don't have states up here. We have provinces and territories. And then cracking under the pressure, Tori throws out Montreal.
So I want our American listeners to be honest with us. Hit us up in the comments. A, did you know the answer to this question? B, how dare you hurt our feelings because I don't think that any of you knew the answer to that question.
I will.
No, but in all honesty, I'm going to say the like provinces or how many people are aware of provinces versus states. That I find funny. But also let's have a serious conversation. Ottawa being the capital of Canada is pretty whack. Ottawa's pretty whack. I'll be honest about that.
It's so funny that you say that because as our listeners know, because I mentioned this last episode, I was just in Vancouver, which is Canada's third largest metropolitan area. And I was struck by how quiet, dare I say, how whack Vancouver was.
Okay.
And I was joking with friends, I think including you, I think Ottawa's getting a bad rep compared to Vancouver.
No, I mean, I haven't been to Vancouver in a long enough time, but I will say that like Ottawa, just don't go. Vancouver, at least you could be like, hey, you'll see some like pretty mountains and like there's great scenery or whatever. Like Ottawa, it's just a business town, shuts down early. Vancouver, there's like at least areas that you can go to beyond what is it in Ottawa, the market or whatever. Like, is that like their main little strip there? But like Vancouver, I'm pretty sure there's like little pockets or like the little neighborhoods you can go to that might be okay, but it's also super small too. I will say that.
What I like is that in the past 2 minutes, we've both insulted our American listeners and large chunks of our Canadian listeners. By the end of this podcast, we're just going to be down to Torontonians who are like, yup.
Well, we're going to put our American listeners on game. There is a hatred from the rest of Canada directly aimed at Toronto.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, I would hate us too if I didn't live here. I'll be honest, but that is a theme that, you know, people outside of Toronto hate Toronto.
Here's a true story. Last week in Vancouver, so one of the things that Canadians dislike about Torontonians is they believe that we're the center of the universe. Okay. Right? Canadians will say, oh, Torontonians think that they're the center of the universe. Mm-hmm. During a news conference broadcast on television, I accidentally referred to Canada as Toronto. Not helping the rep, Sheldon. not helping out my rep as a Torontonian or my fellow Torontonians. I will say, though, do you know what made me feel better about the cast not knowing that Ottawa is the capital of Canada? That the next question is, what year did the American Civil War begin? And none of them knew. And we're like way off. Yeah. Like their actual guess was pretty good. Yeah. But like one of them was guessing in the 1700s. Like she was clearly forgetting, like confusing it with the American Revolution. Yeah. But like it made me feel better where I was like, oh, well, at least they don't know their own history. Yeah, like sure. Arguably, you could make a case that the American Civil War is the most important event in American history. It's certainly a top 5 thing. So like I felt significantly better.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. I did enjoy Michaela getting the question. This app is designed to be deleted.
Yeah.
And I love her confessional. And we haven't had many like just great confessionals. I feel like we get those more with the normal MTV season.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just like a challenge thing with like the challenge producers get that out of them more than like Big Brother always seemed like cartoonish almost, right? Like very silly and terrible written raps. Whereas I thought this was pretty funny where Michaela says that she knows this because hers is not deleted. It dead says, I need a man to come get me, please. I thought that was really funny. But the question that really stuck out to me, and you'll appreciate this because we haven't had these vibes on the pod in a long time. But the question was, whose face is on the American $100 bill? And I immediately just started singing, it's all about the Benjamins, baby. It's all about the Benjamins, baby. Right? Like that like immediately just came to my mind right away. And they got that one right.
You know which one upset me also? Not as much as the Ottawa one. The Ottawa one, like, offended me personally. Mm-hmm. This other one offended me, like, on a more intellectual level.
Okay.
When TJ asks, what country was William Shakespeare born in? And they are like, no one said England.
No.
Or the United Kingdom or Great Britain. All acceptable answers. Mm-hmm. They're just, they were stuck on Italy. He has, off the top of my head, he has 2 plays that he wrote about Italy. Mm-hmm. But like most of his plays are explicitly about England because he's writing about the British monarchy. Like all of it, like there's Richard III, there's Macbeth, like there's very explicit. Like he was writing about actual like histories.
See, I love this pod because you were so thrown off by that one. I was very thrown off by who's the lead singer of the White Stripes. And I was like, really? Like I'm very narrow in my like music selection. I'm like, even I know that. Like how? Like what's happening?
There's only 2 people in the White Stripes, and they have the same last name. And it's in the band's name.
But I was just like, how is this something that they don't know? And I'm really bad with music, right? Like as you can see from my background, if you watch the video, Jay-Z is a lot of my like musical influences that I love, that I like I stick in my corner, right? Which is fine. But it was like, hold on, like just through osmosis, you don't know who the lead singer of you don't know Jack White.
I'm gonna throw this out there. These people typically are on MTV, which once upon a time was a music-based channel. There is a small possibility, I will allow, there is a small possibility that Johnny Bananas and or Wes have been to the MTV Video Awards at the same time as Jack and Meg White. Like, it is possible that at least those two have been in the same room.
I'm going to counter this, though.
Okay.
I bet you that there are people on this television show right now that don't remember a time when MTV actually played music videos.
Oh, that's probably true. But you know what? I promise you, in their lifetimes, William Shakespeare was still from England.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Do you know? I'm sorry, I'm getting warmed up now. But like, William Shakespeare contributed hundreds of words to the English language. He made up words that we use on a daily basis.
I love how angry you are about this. This is amazing.
I mean, come on, like, how do you not know that? That's such a miss.
Because are you okay? Again, Montreal or Quebec is the capital of Canada. Come on, man.
I mean, at least at one point, arguably Quebec City was the capital of Canada when we were still a French colony.
You think that they know that? Hold on.
No,
you think that they know that?
No, they obviously don't. But like, I could see, like they were not really in the ballpark, but they were at least like kind of naming cities in Canada. Well, they didn't name a couple provinces, but like Williams, like
states.
Yeah, the states of Canada. But like William Shakespeare, like there's arguably, I think it's fair to say, he is the most famous author in history.
Mm-hmm. I love how upset you are about this. This is hilarious. I love it.
He invented the word bump. Like, come on.
Well, a lot of these people ended up getting bumped off the wall and into the water. Who ended up winning this? The blue team? Yeah, blue team wins, as Tiffany couldn't get the Coldplay question, which I don't even remember what the question was.
Rush of Blood to the Head is the name of the album.
There we go. So the blue team winning, Wes knows that he's screwed. Bananas knows that he can't really sway anything because it serves him no purpose. They're outnumbered in their deliberation, and him arguing against his team is only going to make him look worse going forward. Do you agree with this strategy by Mr. Johnny Bananas?
Yeah, I think so. I think the vets are playing the best possible. Like, I want to say at this point, they're not making any mistakes. They're just going to have to take their lumps. You know what I mean?
Yep. Definitely. Wes then launches a campaign in which he's trying very hard to sway the rest of the house to try to go away from being a men's elimination. He thinks it's a good plan. They play it up, but this isn't working at all. As Michelle tells everyone it's going to be a men's vote. Wes then has a very emotional moment here, which we didn't really mention it early on, but we saw him calling home and he's talking to his wife who is pregnant. And he's having this moment now where he's realizing that he might be going home here. And this might be his last time being on the challenge. And he's super rattled. And it was interesting to me that there's like tears there. Like he's really sad.
Yeah.
But like some of the other challengers, like Desi, didn't really think it was being genuine at all, which I didn't really get because it didn't seem like anyone else was in the room but Bananas.
Yeah. Dusty, was it Dusty? Dusty
Maybe.
Was there too.
Yes.
Because he's sort of in their alliance.
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't think it was. I thought it was genuine, right?
Yeah, and he would be emotional about that, like it being his last challenge. Like he literally grew up on this show.
Yeah, and like not going the way he wanted, and like as much as we love Wes, he is into really putting forth a particular appearance, right? Like, and this not going his way, I think would be really hard. He's also probably lonely, which I should point out is a word invented by William Shakespeare. And
How do you know that?
I
Like
looked
just
up
off
a
the top of your
list.
head.
Bump I knew, but but you know, it's like I think there's more going on, right?
Okay. Yeah.
But I think it was sincere.
Yeah.
You
He
know,
also talked about
I understand why he was gloomy, which is also a word invented by William Shakespeare.
he also mentioned feeling a little bit of guilt that he left his pregnant wife, and we
Yeah,
find out obviously she says, "Oh, there's barely a baby bump." Like she basically just looks like what did she say? She ate too much at a buffet. So you can tell
yeah,
she's early on in the pregnancy, but still, like I definitely see how there would be some level of guilt there. And you don't want to go out like this. You want to make like a run. You want to make your trip worth it if you did leave your family to try to win some money. And yeah, I mean, it ends up being Wes versus Dusty. No surprise there. And what did you think of this elimination?
So it's called Crankshafted, and the way it works is um, the one person is on like a giant tube over a bunch of gross stuff, and their opponent has to run and undo knots to get the steering wheel off of the sort of apparatus. And they have a small steering wheel. They plug it into the side of the shaft and then they crank it. If they're not strong enough to turn it and like flip their opponent off of the barrel, then they have to go undo another steering wheel and plug that in, because then they have more torque, they have more leverage. And they have to keep doing that until they can get their opponent off. Whoever is fastest wins. I really liked this. I felt like they were trying to make it out like that there was a ton of strategy, and like I don't know that there was like the strategy was sort of minimal.
So yes, you're right. Was that your biggest? Because my biggest takeaway was way different. My biggest takeaway was just the job they did editing it.
Yeah,
Because so let's stick with the strategy side first. I want to
sure,
let's go in order. Sorry, my bad.
that's right.
I think the strategy side of it was interesting because Wes was very precise with his movements. Dusty was
Yes.
kind of like random. And
Well, this
even though
is
the
sorry.
way that
That's my line of the episode. Just to cut in, is Wes said there's a difference between frantic and fast. Not the
right?
funniest line, but like nails it.
Yeah. And he was very precise with all the different, like there was no wasted pulls. Whereas I think Dusty was just like pulling at random, different strings. But then when you get stuck in a knot, now you got to figure out how to like undo that knot and then keep going on the same piece that you were on. And you definitely understand, especially when they say, hey, it came down to 37 seconds. You definitely could see where that time needed to be made up. And the one other strategic move, I think it was an advantage for Dusty to go second because he saw, you know what? I'm not going to waste time on the first little wheel. I'm just going to put that in and then go right to the second wheel because I won't even be able to turn it really with the first one because he saw Wes struggle with it. So I kind of think that was an unfair advantage going being the second person to go. But yeah, as I mentioned earlier, my biggest takeaway was the way that they edited this because they completely tricked me. And I talk about this a lot on this pod. Like, I'll be very honest when I'm tricked because I feel like you see everything coming. Like, there's beats that they hit in the edits, and obviously showing the backstory of Wes's wife being pregnant, right? Like, those are normally the breadcrumbs they drop of someone getting eliminated. And then the way that they cut that, though, they had everyone talking as if like he lost.
I gotta say, I thought with all the editing, I thought that's what they were setting up. I thought they're
Yeah.
like, oh, this is like, it's rare that they do such a good job of not telegraphing it. Like, they really, by editing, had us all fooled.
Yeah. And then
I also think it was legit. Like, I think Wes and certainly Bananas thought he was gone. Like, they thought he'd lost. Like, I think that was all real.
Totally. Wes looked like he thought he lost. Right.
Yeah.
And it's like that was the thing that threw us all off. And then you remember oh yeah, well, it's obviously edited. So you could literally edit anything to make it look like anything you wanted to. If something takes 5 minutes, right? And each person takes 5 minutes, you can make it look any outcome that you want it to make it look. And clearly, they did a really good job in tricking us, and I'm assuming most of the viewers as well, in the like, oh yeah, Wes lost this. But then 37 seconds when TJ said that, I kind of went, oh, that was a lot closer than I thought it would be.
Yeah. Well, and also Wes fell off of his barrel so quickly that you're like, oh no, like he's done for. But no, he's fine. It was good.
Yeah.
And then, most importantly, he has the opportunity to defect.
Yeah.
And he makes the right call. And I was alluding to this earlier. But the vets, the odds are stacked against them, but they're making the right choices. They're playing their hand as best as they can. He defects to the blue team with Bananas and Tori. And gets rid of Chris as well.
No. But who else is on the blue team? Fessy.
Yep.
Corey.
Yep.
Like you basically have the team of all vets. Like they have to work together now. Right. And like that was just a really well played move that I think they kind of stumbled into, but it makes the most sense at this point. And now, I mean, coming up next week, you have to figure that the other two teams need to be smart enough to just make some deal where like we're just going to target the blue team. But are they smart enough to do that? We'll see.
I don't know. We'll see. This is why they're champions, which, by the way, is a word invented by William Shakespeare.
Well played.
Sheldon, if the title of this podcast episode is not a word invented by William Shakespeare,
it's not going.
Oh, God damn it, Shelly. God damn it, Sheldon.
Okay, maybe. I'll surprise you.
Okay, thank you. Do you want me to send you the list of words?
Definitely not. Maybe I'll just call it Words by William Shakespeare.
Okay, that'll take.
A smoother name.
That'll take. You know what's great? In TJ's question about the birthplace of William Shakespeare, the word birthplace was invented by William Shakespeare.
Anything else, man?
I think that's it for now. If I can find a way to work in another word, though, I'm going to do it.
I'm not surprised by that at all. Definitely not surprised by any of that.
Would you say it's laughable?
Nope.
God damn it.
You thought you had me there too.
I have to ask you, Shelly, who killed it for you this episode?
It's got to be your man's Wes, back against the wall. Everyone thought he was going home. His whole challenge career flashing before his eyes. He comes up with the victory. Got to give it to Wes. He's still in the game somehow, some way, lives to play another day. Wes, salute to you, my friend. Just
100%.
a great couple episodes here by Wes.
100%. Dare I say, he's killing it. Like he's doing a really good job. And I mean, we said this episodes ago. The move as soon as they introduced the defecting twist was to just congregate on one team. They're there now, right? I don't know how soon the twist is coming. Yeah, I don't know how soon the twist is coming because obviously they're not going to be on teams forever. But man, once that hits,
totally,
it's all different. And like we saw from the first season of the Challenge USA, completing the final is a whole nother stage that we don't know that these people are ready for.
Very true. Very true.
Where can the good people find you on social media?
Well, you could find me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Shell Alexander and on Instagram at Sheldon Alexander. And the reminder, please continue to like, follow, and subscribe wherever you get the pod. Bless us with the like, bless us with the share. Hit us in the comments. We read them all. We appreciate them all. That is why we are up late recording this podcast to catch up, because of you, the people that are our diehard You Killed It fans. We do this for you. We appreciate
do.
you.
Well, we do it a little bit for ourselves. It's a lot of fun. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, on Instagram, and on Threads at J Chidley Hill. And Sheldon, I should apologize. I'm sorry for going on a rant, but that word was also invented by William Shakespeare. Until next episode, this was You Killed It.
You killed it.